I think there's a number of things. I don't think we reacted to the changing surfaces as well as India did. I think they exploited them better. They found ways of managing the turn and non-turn, if you like, better than we did. But they also exploited it better than us too. I don't think that was a reason for us finishing how it was, but that's played a factor for sure. I do think there have been periods in the game where we found ourselves at parity and India managed to grab them. And generally, the lower scoring test matches, that is the difference. Look at this game, having India 100 odd for 5, and the Champagne walks out for 4. And we have a real opportunity to make that count through some wonderful bowling, early stages of that first innings. And he managed to win that important hour of cricket, if you like. And found him that partnership with him in Washington was very good, and he's such a difficult player to keep quiet because he gets the ball in such unusual areas. And we came across some brilliant batting at that stage of the game. So there's just one example of it, but I do think that that's probably where their experience of these conditions, their experience as a whole, and probably just outweighed us and was a difference in a big difference in the factor of this series. I think that I looked at the surface, it looked very similar to the game, the pitch before. The previous game. I thought that spin was going to play a massive factor and be the main asset. I think it actually was damper in the middle and held together a lot better in the middle, which meant that there was a little bit of extra bounce, and the seam was obviously a lot more threatening option at times. And that was one of the unfortunate things to say about. There was a couple of occasions where you could look back and think, could we've got selection slightly right? It's easy to say that in hindsight, but it was about trying to manage that spin aspect. Can we find ways of having that extra spinner out there on the wicket that we thought was going to turn more to earlier to quicker? So that was the thinking behind it. But I do think the guys put in a remarkable shift, did a wonderful job, and did a great effort for their country. Yeah, I think that, as I mentioned, there have been times when we've had a chance to wrestle the game in our favour and to get on top, and we just didn't manage to do it. I think India played those important key moments better than us in these last 3 games, and they deserve the credit, for being able to do that better than we could. So I know that there was a huge amount of effort. I know what's gone into it from our group. It's certainly not been for. The results have certainly not been for lack of effort or character. I think we stood up very well in that respect, but unfortunately we're outskilled by some very talented players in these conditions. It might not have fallen for Dominic. We all know what he's done already in an England shirt, and for a young guy to have the record that stands up very well, for his age, is very impressive. So. It might have been a tough week from now, but we all know he can play and he can bowl. And again, it's important that he learns from this experience moving forward. But you look at someone like Swan, he didn't start playing for England properly until he was nearly 30, and his career is looked back on as an amazing one. And what he achieved was incredible. But he had the opportunity to have 10 years of learning his art and his craft before getting to this stage. You look at someone like Ashwin at 34 years old, he's now looking like he's at the peak of his powers. Granted, on surfaces that are very familiar to him and maybe a little bit more volatile than previous tours that we've experienced, but he is exploiting it extremely well because of the experience that he has and the amount that he's bowled. And I do think that spin is a very different animal to the other facets of the game. You look, someone like Warren looked like he got better and better as he got older. Moralitha very similar. I do think that we've got to remember that these guys are very young, not just in the amount of cricket that they've played, but also young guys. And the more they play, the more experience they gain, the better they will become. So it's important we take, as we are batting, we take everything away from this trip. individually as well as collectively say, right, I'm going to look at this experience for what it was, and I'm going to make myself a better player. Because again, it's easy to sit here, a bit like we talk about selection. It's easy and looking at the surface. It's easy to look at it now and pick apart all of the things that potentially could be better for it. I do think it's important that next time we learn lessons from this time around. But again, it was all done in the best interest of the England team and the 3 formats moving forward for the whole year. Of course, it's not an ideal, perfect scenario. As a captain, you always want all of your players available for selection as often as possible. And that's not been the case on this tour. But I also think that you talk about we've got to get away from that. I suppose that stage of just playing people until they fall over. And yes, we might not get it right all the time to start with, but I do think we need to move forward and look at a better way. And hopefully we find that better way very quickly. But it is going to be really important that with the amount of cricket that we are playing, and having a number of guys that are multi-format, that we look after everyone and don't get to a stage where guys are severely burnt out and we're losing out on some real talent, and also that they're losing out on the enjoyment factor of the game.
Dave, can you take us through the numbers?
Yeah, so as Sumit pointed out, the numbers this time have been...
I think it is a result of the kind of work that we put in over the last 10 years span of time. The World Test Championship was announced, and obviously we've really fought hard, right? We played 6 or 7 series, and we've literally got most of the points. We've lost a test. We've lost about 3 tests in the entire cycle, and I think surprisingly enough, we had to still go into this series and garner points to get to the final, and that's how it was positioned because of a lot of last minute changes due to COVID. So I think for a lot of players in that dressing room, it means a lot. Some of them have not even played in a Cricket World Cup, so it will mean like the Cricket World Cup for most of them. I'm so very happy for someone like Ishant Sharma, who got selected in the 2015 Cricket World Cup, and he couldn't play because he was ruled out due to injury towards the last minute. And for someone like him to get to the World Test Championship final would mean the world. And I was reading somewhere that he called it the World Cup final for himself. So it makes absolute sense, and I'm incredibly happy for him and many of the others for whom it means a lot. I think the way we wrestled back the initiative in the second test at Chennai, it's very easy, being 1-0 down, you can tend to get a little, want to protect your own backyard, want to, play to the potential that everybody expects you to play. All these things are things that are spoken from outside, but what we have done incredibly well over the last 6 months is the fact that we've stayed in the moment, tried to play the game as we see it, play what's in front of us, and also tried to play some brave cricket instead of wanting to protect our things. So the way we came back in the second test as a group, we found ourselves in some sticky situations in all of these tests, barring all 3 tests after the 1-0 situation. And I think every time somebody has managed to stand up, and I think that ability to stand up is directly relational to how we've bonded together as a team in these bubbles. I don't even understand this question of me seeing the evolvement of Rohit Sharma, because it is quite funny, honestly, when I hear that question. Obviously, when you put him on the pedestal of Virender Sehwag, and I mean, you mentioned a few other names and also Rohit Sharma, and that's the right place and that's where he belongs. And we all know, and I've always, my history with Rohit goes a long way back, maybe 15, probably 20 years ago since I've watched Rohit bat, and he's always been a special batsman. It is not a surprise that you're putting him on the same lines that you're saying Virender Sehwag and whoever that you mentioned alongside. It's not an evolution, it is only a matter of time. Nobody is surprised that Rohit Sharma is doing what he's doing, right? He's a special cricketer, he's a special batsman. I just hope he goes on to win a World Cup for India later this year, that's it. So this is one of those series where I was fortunate enough to stay in the moment a lot. Like I said, this is easily one of the happiest phases of my career. I'm just going through it, I'm just enjoying it. And whatever be it, these bio bubbles are also situations that I've somehow managed to enjoy amidst all of these things. I never thought that I would be able to bond and spend so much time with every one of my teammates, and I sometimes when you're going through these situations, like for me, to know some of these teammates was not possible before these bio bubbles, because you're constantly in the face of trying to play the game, get the right result for yourself and all that. But now you're actually getting to be in the bio bubble, staying in the moment and spending a lot of time with each other. And fortunately enough, you will not realize the kind of great players that you're playing with until you're done. But now I'm able to cherish those moments and also understand what sort of players I'm rubbing shoulders with, and also, you know, the younger generation of players that are coming through. So it's basically the joy that's being expressed out there, and I don't have anything else to say about the series or my performance, because it was just a result and I want to start again fresh and clean the slate up. It's quite surprising because Washi bowled in some of the IPL franchises, and he shot to fame because of his bowling in the power play and all that. So it's quite surprising that people don't recognize that he grew up all his life as a batsman who can bowl, and I'm not surprised at all with his batting abilities. He works really hard on his batting. In fact, to a point where sometimes we have discussions around how you should bowl more as well. So he loves his batting. He's innately a batsman. So I'm not surprised at all. He's quite a special batsman, like I said earlier in Chepak as well. Look, this series win is a testament to the fact that this is a really good Indian cricket team, and that is all I would like to say. The criticism around the pitch and all that. See, the other day also I was listening to what Sunny Bhai was saying on air, and it made complete sense. Only because we are giving attention to people who are making a mockery of it, I think we are encouraging them to do more and more such stuff. I would like to see one day where there is a lot of grass on the pitch somewhere else in the world, some of our Indian comms talking about it, gracing pitch and putting an Instagram post and a lot of people liking it. That is something that I'd like to wait and watch, and how the global media takes notice to that. Then we'll know who's at the faulty end. Look, nobody really wants to leave an Indian team bubble, right? You want to be here, you want to play, and you want to, you know, sort of play as much as you can, and that's how it is, right? Somewhere I feel the life inside the bio bubble is not easy at all. We need to work on our mental spirits, and you need to constantly keep motivating yourself. But I think the last 8 months have been hard, yes, but I think the team morale and the team spirit, and also the kind of bonding that the teams built because of these bio bubbles, is something that I have not experienced in the last decade of cricket that I've played with the team. It's kind of been quite special, understanding a lot of people, and even the opportunity for somebody else to understand you as a person, and the interactions and the sort of common lounge area that we share. And this has been quite special, and I think some of those comebacks and some of those difficult situations that we've played has not come as a surprise, because we've generally bonded together and got some special results. Looking forward to going back home. Obviously, you want to see your kids and your wife and your family and all that, but this has been quite a special ride, and I'm extremely happy. Now, honestly, there is no take on that, because that's not what I'm thinking, and that's not even crossed my mind. I don't know since how long. It's never crossed my mind. It's not been on my radar at all. So it's if you want me to just put thoughts on it, he's a fantastic bowler. He's achieved what he's achieved, and he's I mean, there is a lot that I've learned from him. In fact, I think it's a no-brainer that I've told it before also. I wasn't even an off-spinner when Bajupa started playing for the Indian team. I was a batsman who could bowl a bit of off-spin, and then he was also an inspiration because of the 2001 series where he delivered for India, right? That famous series. So, who I never imagined in 2001 that I will go on to become an off-spinner and even get to who knew all these things there. I'm totally happy that you are actually putting me on the same page as he is, and I had the fortune of playing alongside Bajupa when I came into the team. Later, I was fortunate enough to play under Anil Bhai as coach, and now.
This brilliant device stops expensive.
शॉर्ट बॉल पे ये शॉट कौन खेलता है यार? अगर मैं होता ना, बस बॉल को देखता और शानदार।
खुद को एक्सपर्ट समझते हो तो खेलो प्लेयर स्पॉट पर लोएस्ट एंट्री फी में।
इस गेम में फाइनेंशियल रिस्क है और लत लग सकती है। कृपया जिम्मेदारी से खेलें और अपनी रिस्क पे खेलें। Hi Rohit, you have seen Rishabh Pant up close for a very long time now. Would you say this knock of his is his best that you have seen because he displayed both the defensive and attacking gameplay?
Yeah, in my opinion, yes. It was probably one of his finest knock. And it came under pressure as well. We weren't in the good position, when he came to bat. And we saw few sides of Rishabh Pant's knock today. He was quite cautious at the beginning, and then he was. Then he actually flourished the way we know Rishabh Pant, and he batted like that. And put the team into a good position. That was more important. When we came inside, when they came inside the tea break, we said the message was to both the guys, Washington and Rishabh, that first we need to get to the lead, need to get to the score, and then try and press from there. And then he played his natural game, which is absolutely fine, and a lot of credit and a lot of courage he showed in the middle, which is fantastic. Washington and Rishabh, that first we need to get to the lead, need to get to the score, and then try and press from there. And then he played his natural game, which is absolutely fine, and a lot of credit and a lot of courage he showed. The pitch was fine, absolutely good to bat on. There was some help for the bowlers, seamers, and the spinners. And we know that early on there's a lot of moisture on the pitch. We need to get through that 40-45 minutes at the beginning, and we did that pretty well actually. Unfortunately we lost Pujara at the time, but I think we played that spell of Anderson and Stokes pretty well. Yes, of course they bowled in good areas, got some wickets as well. But it was important for us, to make sure that we assess the pitch and then, try and build partnership, because it's the first inning totals of theirs was a very small total, so we needed to get to the total of theirs first. So it was important, and Test cricket we have seen many a times. There will be times where you will be tested, you will be challenged as a batsman, and we accepted that. We knew there was something on offer for the bowlers. It was important for us at that point not to lose too many wickets. Unfortunately, yes, like I said, we lost few wickets. But again, we knew, we are in the game if we keep batting as long as possible. And then again, after tea, when Rishabh was set, he took on the bowlers, he took his chances, it came off. And that is something that we need. We need that spark in the middle, and he brings that to us. He plays his game, he understands his game really well now. And you got to give credit to Washington as well. The way he batted, showed a lot of respect, was very tight in his technique as well. And then when there was loose balls, he put them away. It was a fantastic partnership from them.
My question is, when you saw Jack Leach bowling in the first two sessions, you also played Jack Leach. He was bowling onto the rough and was bowling over the wicket, and suddenly last session he came round the wicket, and very surprised that they were using the rough, and the way they were bowling in the first two sessions, Jack Leach especially, he changed his track, and that also helped a bit when Rishabh and Washington were batting.
Yeah, see, when he's bowling to the right-handers, he's obviously going to come over the wicket and try and hit the stump area and try and see if he can get some turn from the stumps, which is slightly been the talk in the last three Test match. When you bowl on the stumps, you never know what's going to happen, whether it's going to take turn or whether it's just going to come straight on and hit the pads. And that is what he was trying to do in the first couple of sessions when the right-handers were batting. And obviously when the two left-handers came, he was trying to use the rough, which is absolutely fine.
In the last three Test match,
bowlers will obviously try and extract something from the pitch. There was a little bit of turn on offer as well, but I thought we negotiated that pretty well. Both the left-handers, they had very attacking mindset, looking to score kind of a run mindset, which is very, very important when you're playing on a pitch like that. And when you are on a back foot as well, we were actually, to be honest, on back foot when we lost wickets. But like I mentioned earlier as well, the partnership between Pant and Washi was so important from the team's perspective to get us to where we wanted, put us in the driver's seat, get as many lead as possible. Right now, I think it's 90 odd run lead, which is fantastic. And I just hope Akshar and both Washi can carry the same intent tomorrow as well and put us in a good position.
You become so good at going on that you've forgotten how to go off. You've become so good at following the calendar. You've forgotten there's no such thing as a calendar. It's all made up because the roads don't know what day it is. The sunrise doesn't care that it's not the weekend. The hills don't know that it's the middle of the week. Today doesn't care it's a Monday. Today wants you to start living. Tata Safari. Reclaim your life.
Tap to pay with contactless Visa SBI credit card. Cashless confidence. Now, noting required up to ₹5,000.
Position.
रोहित मॉर्निंग सेशन में एंडरसन और स्टोक्स काफी अच्छी बॉल डाल रहे थे, तो उनका क्या प्लान था और कैसे काउंटर किया आप लोगों ने? वो क्या कर रहे थे और आपने वो काउंटर करने के लिए क्या किया?
हाँ बिल्कुल, एंडरसन और स्टोक्स, मैंने जैसे बताया कि मॉइस्चर था पिच पे, तो वो लोग को उनको पता था कि मॉइस्चर है पिच पे, हमको अच्छे एरियाज में बॉल डालना है, और थोड़ा सा हेल्प हो रहा था बॉलर्स को, स्विंग हो रहा था बॉल, और थोड़ा सा बॉल सीम भी हो रहा था। तो हमारे लिए ज़रूरी था, खास करके मेरा जो प्लान था ये था कि ये जो आधा पौना घंटा है उसके बाद हम व्हेन स्पिनर कम ऑन टू बोल, वी जस्ट हैव टू वेट फॉर द लूज बॉल, ट्राई एंड बी पेशेंट। ये प्लानिंग था हमारा, खास करके मेरा तो प्लान सिंपल था, बाहर का बॉल मुझे थोड़ा सा रिस्पेक्ट देना है, छोड़ना है, क्योंकि कुछ ना कुछ ऑफ स्टंप के बाहर से बॉल कर रहा था और स्विंग भी कर रहा था। तो यही बात हो रहा था, जो भी बैट्समैन के साथ मैं बैटिंग कर रहा था, पुजारा पहले खेल रहे थे मेरे साथ, तो उनको भी मैंने यही बताया कि बॉल थोड़ा सा सीम हो रहा है, इनिशियली आधा पौना घंटा हमें थोड़ा ढंग से खेलना पड़ेगा। उसके बाद पुजारा आउट हो गए, विराट आया, विराट भी हमने यही डिस्कस किया था कि पिच पे कुछ हो रहा है, ऐसा नहीं है फ्लैट पिच है, कुछ ना कुछ हेल्प हो रहा है सीमर को। और आपने देखा ही उनका जो विकेट गया वो काफ़ी बॉल किक कर गया वहाँ से स्टोक्स का, तो वो दोनों जन अच्छे रिदम में बॉल डाल रहे थे, पार्टनरशिप में बॉल डाल रहे थे। तो मेरे लिए ज़रूरी था कि मैंने भी देखा मेरे सामने 2 विकेट गिर गए थे पुजारा और विराट का, तो मेरे लिए ज़रूरी था कि एक एंड से मुझे बैटिंग करना है और दूसरे एंड से पंत बैटिंग कर रहे थे मेरे साथ, और अज्जू आए, अज्जू ने भी फटाफट 20-30 रन का नॉक खेला, वो हमारे लिए इम्पोर्टेंट था। इस पिच पे ये छोटे छोटे नॉक्स काफ़ी इम्पोर्टेंट होते, और बाद में हम सब ने देखा कि ऋषभ और वॉशिंगटन ने कैसे बैटिंग किया और हमारी टीम को अच्छे पोजीशन में ला के रखा।
Hi Rohit.
Hi.
Yeah. We've seen not just in this innings but even in Australia that Pant he seems to be trusting his defense a lot more now, right? Like when he comes in, he's prepared to take his time. Was there any point where the team management kind of sat down and told him, look, you can defend as well, you've got that game as well, so
no.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Pant has his own style of batting. Of course, there have been messages from the team management as to how he needs to approach his inning, but he seems to be batting in his own style, which is absolutely fine from our perspective as well, from the team's perspective, because he seems to be getting the job done at the end of the day, which is more important. And you saw in this inning as well, like in the first half of his inning, he was he was quite respectful. He was trusting his defense, like you said. Yes, absolutely. And then once we got to 200, he just wanted to take on the bowlers, which is absolutely fine. And you need those kind of players in your team where, people are not afraid to take on the bowlers, and when there are chances, you just grab them with both hands. We saw, at the start, there are you should have mix of players in your squad. There are a few guys in the team who would play respectfully, and then you need somebody who are courageous and are willing to take chances as well, because cricket right now, the way it is played, it's completely different from what it used to be played back in the day. So I feel, you need to take those chances and you need to be courageous, and Pant seems to be that, which is absolutely fine by the team management.
And you saw this
as long as he gets the job done for us, all of us are happy. But there are times where he will play shots and he'll get out. But I don't want anyone to get upset with that, because he's the kind of player who will play an inning like that and get the team from a situation where we were on back foot, and then suddenly, within the span of 1 hour, your team looks completely different. We have a 50-60 run of a lead on that kind of a pitch. So people like Pant, you need to back their skills, back their ability as to how they bat. So the management completely understands that, and they are willing to take those chances with him. And of course, he's been given that freedom as well, which is very, very important from my perspective. I completely understand from the batsman's point of view, when you have your team management, your captain and coach behind you, how important it is, how important of a feeling is that to have as a player. And Pant seems to have that now with all of them, which is a great sign, and he will flourish. He'll give you those kind of knocks every now and then, but I don't want anyone to get disappointed or start making opinions about how he got out playing a bad shot, because he's the kind of guy who will play shots, he will get out. But at the end of the day, we need those kind of guys who can take those chances, and at times bring the team into a position where nobody were expecting us to go past that lead as well at one point. But now look at where we stand at the end of the day, and we saw that in Australia as well. So he needs to be given that freedom, and
how he got out.
He seems to be going in a different direction.